Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the episode for today. We are continuing our adventure of the Misfortune. This is episode 11. A few changes that you are probably going to be expecting. I came across this juice oracle. It's part of the oracle. I cut it out. It's just all of these nice D100 tables. We have action, description, focus, person, location, event, creature description, creature ability, trap, and 2D percentage. So I'm going to be probably using that for a little bit, just for this episode. I'll give it a try, just because it has this plethora of choices. And then this is the new system we'll be using, my system. I decided to give my system a go in an actual campaign. Of course, there will be flaws, and I've already made some corrections since printing this out, of course, right? And thanks to some people who posted on my who commented on my last video, my last workshop video, where I talked about my recent updates. A few that are rather important to point out. I had a typo here, 1d6 for rolling within the range. I added a thing called defense, which is not based on armor. I'm going to see how that works out. If this should be tied to an item that you have, or it's just not the natural endurance of your character. We'll see how that works. Right now, it's just a trait. I changed health to heart, so 3d6. The battle die is combined weapon and armor. Just narratively speaking, 10 items still the same currency. And it only two boosters now is power and mind. I took out the speed one because I just made that part of physical actions for power. And then the biggest fix it was the booster checks. I have I had an issue, an error, where rolling one was impossible because you would use 2d6 for the booster check. So how do you get a one with 2d6 if there's no negative modifier, which there really is no disadvantage method I have for this system. So I just upped the difficulties one per, I believe. So 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. So higher than a 12, but if you have your booster, it is impossible to achieve. So roll 2d6 plus booster, and then if you're an expert, plus 2 the sum. And then the combat, I think, is the same as my last rendition. Taking damage just updated the context to heart. Healing after combat, you heal one heart. Take a short rest, heals 1d6. That increases chance of encounter. Long rest heals completely. Same enemy list. Energy evolution is now just uh, addition is a +1 instead of rolling for it. And there's max for each. So max 4 for the booster traits. That should be say that should say booster. I make these notes so I can correct it later. Heart says 12, which is essentially what you can roll. I probably could up that to 15. I want to up that to 15. So that doesn't because if you have one of those lucky rolls of 3d6, then you have 12. So let's do 15 for now. So then defense is max of 4. You roll within a range for both the boosters and the defense. So 1 through 2 is a 0. Uh, 3 through 4 is a +1, and then +2. So you can't even have it. There's a roll. You could not even have a defense. While I still have boosters possible for the booster checks, but I could change this to 0, 1, 3, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2 if you roll to 1d6, which would make the game more difficult. So let's try that. Let's change this to uh, 0, 1, 2. And then, yep. So now the max will be just 4 for boosters. And then energy is still the same. I did up the max for energy to 6. Here's the character sheet I have for Reglor. I now have to change this to 2 because of my new rule. Mind, I'm going to take away the 1, but he is proficient in it. And proficiency, sorry, expert, and my armor is 1. Health is 12. Uh, those are all the items I translated over, and then low-level pocket, pickpocket, looks like Frank Martin from the transporter. He's proficient in mind, so that gives him a +2. So I'm going to up that to, I'll put it back to, I think, well, I'm trying to figure out if expert is probably too much. If I should lower that to 1. I think that'd make more sense. Let's try that. So I'm going to up that to 2 just for our math. +2. There we go. Okay, so we're 2, 2, 1. All right, perfect. 12. Okay, that's our character sheet for Breglor at the bottom of the rules. I don't have anything in the back yet. We still have our map here on the left. We have our notes here ready to go. So where we left off, uh, looked like a little closer for you guys. Breglor noticed that there were a couple bandits mugging a merchant, a helpless traveling merchant. And questions I left for this episode was merchant connected story with the others, the key merchant organization supply chain. So 2 possibilities for this episode. All right, so do the merchants notice us? That's all I want to figure out. Or if we can sneak up and help the merchant, because I definitely think we're going to help the merchant. Now, let's see what they're currently doing to. I'm sorry, I'm speaking to the about the bandits. Let's see what the bandits are currently doing. So we have all of these potential choices. Let's roll for D100 and see what happens. 44, extract. That makes complete sense. So they are trying to grab the bandits. Are let's say they're picking. Wonder if we can try to roll for an item. There's no items on here, which I thought there was, but that's okay. Bandits are basically they're trying to grab the merchant's pockets, like see what he has on him. They already have perhaps quite a few. We can roll to see how far in they are in this little. Um, are the merchants? I'm sorry, all the bandits already have they mugged the merchant already completely? So let's say they have not. So that's probably going to be halfway through. I'd say they are mugging the merchant. They're trying to extract stuff from him. I'd say he probably has. Does he have like a what do you call that? A a wagon with him. Or that was a advantage roll. He does not have a wagon, so the merchant's just probably by himself with a large backpack. So merchant, no wagon. Expecting a wagon. Just a just a carrying bag. So he has like a big backpack on, like a big travel bag, and they're pushing him down. They're going through his belongings. They're trying to extract everything of value from him. So a classic mugging, I should say. These bandits probably some no-name, low-level pickpocketers like our character, which we have to remember that. So with that in mind, uh, we have a couple approaches here. let's try to sneak up on him. And I forgot to toss the Karen sheet, which we're not using anymore. There we go. So keep that aside for reference if I have to. So we have to, let's do our first roll to see if we can sneak up on these guys. I'm going to try to sneak up behind them because we're quite some distance away with Doggo. Um, this is going to be an action check. This will be a power check. So 2d6, just two regular d6s. And then my booster is +2. So I'm going to say this is going to be, they're pretty busy. I'm going to say casual. So we got to roll a 7 or higher. Or we got to roll higher. 7 is questionable. So let's see what happens. Plus my 2 bonus. So I rolled a 3. That's a 5. And I failed. Definitely was not easy to do. So 5 to get all total. I failed to sneak up on him. So it wasn't a complete fail. It wasn't a critical fail. So let's say I have an idea how this can happen. So sneak up, fail. Uh, Sparky barks. So Sparky barks like I'd say let's see how Sparky's currently reacting. Let's just use just the dog. I don't think we need that many emotions for a dog. Let me grab my dice that has the little there it is. That has the faces on it. Okay. So what is Sparky's current emotion? He's miserable. He's not happy of seeing okay, let's just say I'd say he's frustrated, angry, he's miserable at seeing um so this little action going on in the distance. So Sparky barks, mad. Um so I'd say the Sparky run to let's the Sparky run up to them? I'm curious. Rolling for advantage. He doesn't. He's just barking right behind me and barks but doesn't move. Maybe Sparky is let's re-roll for that. I'm trying to figure out if he's behind us. Because we moved. We snuck up, but failed because of Snarky's barks. Where is Snarky? Snarky behind us? Oh yeah. Okay. She is. So Sparky was like right behind us. He's behind us. So the bark gave away our position. So the bandits turn around and we're probably in a pose like this, like we're sneaking crouched in the bark all of a sudden. So let's roll to see what the bandits' reaction to us. I'm really curious if it's just a straight up, hey, what are you? Or they're gonna try to fight us, or they're gonna freak out, run away. There's all a bunch of possibilities. So let's say a couple possibilities here. Let's do action. 11. Berry. No, that doesn't make any sense. Let's use the dice. Pleasant. I doubt it. Busy. You know what? That actually, I like that one. Busy. So the bandits turn around, they see me just standing there, and they're like, "Oh, buzz off, we're busy." So they try to shoo us away. Maybe the dog, they're talking to Sparky. They're like, "Shut up, dog," or something like that. Bandits turn around, uh, tell us to f off. Underline that. They continue mugging. Now I'm gonna say that Bregler is going to pull out his weapon and try to play hero here, yell at them to leave the merchant alone at the top of his voice, try to shout. So we're gonna shout at them. We have to do this would be more like an intimidation. So we're gonna roll for a mental action. This will be 2d4, sorry, 2d6. With our booster, the same thing plus 2. We are proficient in it. We are expert in this. I'd say this will be easy. Or we can keep it casual. So far, casual's been, because they seem pretty casual. All right. Plus 2 on this roll. So 7, which we got off the bat. So 5, 6, 7, 9. So we are successful in uh, basically getting their attention to focus on us and leave the merchant alone. So shout at them, weapon drawn. Dagger, I think. Yep, I have a dagger, D4, weapon drawn. We tell them to leave the merchant alone. The merchant is the merchant okay? I'm trying to figure this out. Let's do a I want to keep the guy alive, so let's do a toll roll. Is the merchant uh is the merchant okay? Like is he conscious? Ooh, yikes. Okay. Well, actually it's not as bad as I think. 5, 6, 7. He's fine. I don't think he's as bad as the last one we met, maybe similar, but I'd say the merchant is not badly beaten. I mean, that's pretty close. I'm gonna say he is badly beaten. Just not a good day for merchants. It's bad. Man, not a laughing matter. Badly beaten. Okay, so now, um, are do they take? How do they react to the? How do they react to weapons drawn? So let's see how they react. Pleasant. Interesting. I keep rolling that. These bandits, I think they're not the brightest. Okay, I have an idea for this. So, bandits see our see dagger, see the dagger, and sorry, I'm very. I don't got the greatest handwriting in the world, but there's times I like to try to perfect it at times. Try to roll too hard. Yeah, that's just an OCD thing of mine. But like I said, my handwriting is not the best. But doing this does help it. So I don't write too often. So besides these videos, um, they see the dagger, and I think they're gonna smile and laugh, not like hysterically. They're just like they're not afraid. I think because we rolled basically to get their attention, not to intimidate them. Even though I said that, but more so just to get their attention again because they continue mugging. So they laugh or they smile. Maybe perhaps they think that we want to join in on the fun? Like they're confusing us for like on the clock uh a pickpocketer. Let's see. Advantage roll. Oh wow, they do even with the advantage. They do indeed think that we're there to join. So the bag see the dagger, they smile. Uh, they tell Breglor, "Sorry, bud, but uh, sorry, bud, but we got all his gold." And then I'm going to reiterate. Breglor's going to reiterate a little louder this time. Obviously, wasn't effective before. Apparently, he says, "Give, give, give him back his goods. Give him back his gold. Stop what you're doing." Like I'm basically just trying to play hero here. And the bandits, in doing so, now okay, now it's questionable. Available. Now we got their attention. So uh Breglor tells them again to stop, basically, just to stop. Okay, now we got their attention. So they're drawn. Are we now going to be an encounter for the first time, I think, for like an actual encounter that takes damage. We've had an encounter before, the wolves, potentially that family, but we haven't done any turns or well we have I think earlier in the main adventure but to actually take some damage. So I might be wrong on that detail, but are they going to engage us? Let's figure out. Advantage roll. They're not. Oh, tied. They are very hesitant. Whoops, 3 to 6. Yep. So four. Oh no, they don't. So three. Yeah, so 5 to 6. They don't engage us. They bandits. I said bandits threaten us. They try to taunt us with weapons drawn. Like maybe they have a rapier or something like that. But they're not really. They're not stepping towards us. Threaten us with a weapon, but they don't engage. Don't fight. So it's really up to us now. We need to make the move because are they going to keep mugging? I'm going to say they are going to keep mugging, and we can't just keep rolling. Let's see. I'm going to say we're going to attack because clearly they're not going to back off. So they continue mugging. Well, let's roll. Do they continue mugging? We'll do an advantage roll. I'm sorry, we'll do a combined roll. They do keep mugging. Yep, for the third time. It's like a comedy scene here. All right, we're gonna strike. So let's do our first encounter with my rules here. So basically, the way this works is just dice against dice, really simple like that. So, um, no advantage really. We could, but roll your battle die against the enemy battle die. So D4 against. Let's put these all away. So we have two bandits. Let me do encounter. Encounter. So we have. Let's see. How should I do this? Bandit one. Let's do them. They'll also be a D4. So D4 meaning 4 health. Bandit 2, D4, 4 health, and then there's us. We have our sheet on the left here. Okay, so let's do just the rolls to see what happens. I'll grab a red D4 for enemy and a blue D4. Let's see. A D4. Okay, here we go. This is the first round. Remember, we also have what's called armor, and our armor is sorry, defense is 1, so then that negates 1 attack. Okay. Oh, they struck us, but it's clashed out because it's 3 to 2. 3 to 2. Okay, so no damage either way. Our armor stops it. I'm sorry, I keep calling it armor defense. Okay, here's the next one. 4 to 2. We deal 2 damage. No, I'm sorry, they deal 2 damage -1, so we take 1 damage in that recent bout. Our health is down to 11. Okay, let's roll again. Okay, 3 to 2. They don't do any damage minus our defense. Okay, next one. 4. Finally, we deal 1 damage. I'm going to choose um, the first bandit, the one we've been talking to the most. Okay, next roll. 4 to 3 again. Nice. So we deal another damage. I'm going to do it even it out with the other bandit number 2. Okay. Next roll. This time we get 3 to 1. Enemy has 1. We have 3, so 2 damage. I'm going to do the bandit number 2. So he's down to 1 now. So he's on his knees, bleeding out. Okay. Maybe the final strike. Nope. They deal so 4 to 1. Enemy 4. That is a difference of 3 minus 1, so we take 2 damage. So now we're down to 9. Okay, roll again. Okay, 2 to 1. Enemy has 2. No damage because we have the armor. All right. 2 to 2. Clash. We get pushed back. I think I have that. Yep. We get pushed back. All right. Next roll. 4 to nice. Whoops. 4 to 1. 4 to 1. So that's 3 damage to one of them. I'm gonna take out the main bandit. Bandit number 1. He's dead. All right. So he collapses. I may cut his throat or something, and he falls back, coughing out blood. His his friend, ally, brother, whatever, He is on the ground, kneeled, still holding his rapier out, and he's like shouts, "Brother!" And he's going to rush at us while we also rush at them. Okay, 1-1 clash. All right, another roll. 2-2. I guess that's the problem with D4s. I tendency to roll the same number. Okay, here we go. 3-4. Okay, so four to us, but with armor, there's no damage done to us. Okay, 4 to us again. So 4-3. No damage to us with the defense. I'm trying to roll this one a little better. 1-1, I keep getting the same thing. So clash. This one's really taking a while. 4-3. About time. We take out the last bandit, and he is down. Whew. Okay, so that is done. Conflict. The encounter is over, and I'm going to first check on the merchant. Is he okay? Let's roll for story. Let's roll for which is total sum. Is he okay? Is he still awake? He is. Okay, so uh, Regular checks on the bandits, on the on the merchant. He's like leaning against. He's back to laying down against a rock. We just check on. We grab his shoulders. He's awake. He's looking at us unconscious. His eyes are kind of circling around, and obviously they beat him up a bit. They roughed him up. His stuff is all over the ground. The bag is wide open, and I'm going to ask him, "Are you all right?" I'm going to just respond to him, "Are you okay?" And no, actually, let's roll the. How is he as a person? Let's roll. Okay, he's welcoming. He's so relieved. Merchant is happy to see us. He kind of awkwardly smiles because he's hurt. He like kind of laughs and like coughing hurt. He's just in pain. He's smiling. Oh, he's like, oh, thank you so much, adventurer. He calls us that. Uh, he's like, oh, I don't know how to repay you. And oh yeah, by the way, we have to heal. So after combat, we heal 1, so we're back to 10. I know I forgot to put our max, which is 12. I almost forgot about that. We started with 12. Can't forget. Um, okay, so he's welcoming. We're going to. Can we help him up? Is that an option? Let's roll a strength check. We're going to try to help him up. That'll be 2d6 with a booster of difficulty. Let's say hard for him though. So let's say it's hard. So which is we roll 9 or higher. Okay, with our bonus of power plus 2. Oh my gosh, we rolled a 2. It's a critical fail. Shoot, even with our booster, because we're not an expert on that. So my booster was. Oh wait, that's a 4. So I have to define my rules a little better here. But basically, what I'm noticing is rolling a 2 critical is a critical failure, no matter the booster. I'm gonna put that. Uh, no matter rolling. I should say. Well, let me pause this for a second. I gotta figure this out. Okay, so I have to consider my booster because think about it. Some players can have a booster of 0, and then they may not be an expert of that booster, so they could still roll a 2. So we did roll a 2 technically, but we have to consider the booster. So our booster is going to be 2, so that's 4, but the difficulty was 7, so we still fail, but we don't critical fails. Okay, so um, Breglor helps merchant up, helps merchant to stand, but he can't, so he falls back, unable to stand up. His legs hurt. Maybe his legs are beaten up. Let's try. Let's maybe try to take a look at his. Are his legs beat up like pretty bad? I'm gonna say. Let's roll. Let's just ask. Are his legs beat up, broken? Whoops. This is an advantage roll. They are. So his legs are broken. One leg is broken. This is the difference. 6-3. One leg. is broken. Do we have anything to heal him? I don't have any potions or I have that spell book, but I'm gonna save that for later. Rations won't really help him out. Shoot, we always run into these merchants being a problem. Man. Okay, well let's see. We tell him, it looks like your leg is busted, and I think after we tell him that, how does he respond? Available. So it's really like he's completely aware of it. I think he's like, yeah, no shit. Um, so he can't move at all. We're going to look both ways to see if there's anybody coming with like a carriage or some remarkable chance that someone's coming. Let's see, is anybody on their way to us? Is there any passerby? Let's do let's do a total roll. There is, so 6 to 1. There is someone indeed coming. So let's see who it is. We look. So Breglor looks around for anything to help, for anything that possibly looks around to see if anybody is near. Because we're not too far off in the village. Perhaps maybe we're like half an hour away from the village of Bellhop. Well, let's figure out who's coming our way. This will be quite interesting. We have this huge list of people we can roll to. It's a D100, so let's get our D100 back. All right. There it is. D100. So 32. Person 32. A cook. Interesting. So we rolled a cook is coming. A traveling chef, perhaps. Traveling cook. Maybe it's a interesting. So it looks like someone on a horse, perhaps. Let's say it's a traveler on a horse. Well, let's roll. Are they on a horse? I doubt they're walking, but let's just do a story roll. We'll do total. They are on a horse, yes. Okay. On a horse, dressed like a chef, like a cook, I'd say. Like a cook. They're wearing like maybe not like the big, not the big top hat, but the kind of, well, back then, I don't know if they wear white, but maybe they look like they have cookware on them, like across the belt. So they're dressed like a cook for some reason. So they walk up to us, or they come up to us with a horse. Do they stop? Let's do a total roll. They stop for us. 5, 6, 7. They do, yeah. They casually stop. The cook, we'll get in there for a second. The cook casually stops near us. Okay, and then let's roll to see what his reaction is. He or she, his reaction is. Let's roll. But no, oh, really? So really helpful. So the cook jumps off their horse, jumps off, runs up to us, and the cook is basically like, my, what has happened here? He's all very energetic and overacting. And I'm surprised. Bregler's surprised, and the merchant, I'm sure they're surprised. They're angry. Okay. Oh, you know what? That's interesting. Um, the cook asks us, I have an idea how this can work out. Asks us what has happened, like really over the top. What has happened here? Now the cook, he's angry for some reason, and I think I have a reason. I have a funny possibility why they know each other. So, um, person, I'm gonna see if I can roll for the oracle, but I have an idea in mind if it doesn't work out. 30, 31, which was the cook anyways. How ironic. Depart. The merchant was leaving from the cook. So the merchant, some backstory, the merchant uh, delivered, or I should say sold, sold some, let's say some goods, sold some goods to the very same cook that just walked up to us. So, but he's angry because perhaps the cook was a haggler and kept wanting a cheaper price, and the merchant was getting really pissy about it. So earlier in their story, the cook, I should say the merchant, the cook is a haggled the price, basically a cheapskate. So the merchant was just passing through the town of Bellhop and sold some things to the cook, and because of that, the cook left town. Merchant continued on his way, so the merchant went on his way, pissy at the cook. Maybe the cook is an owner of an inn or like a kitchen. So on his way, was the cook trying to catch up with the merchant? That's all I'm wondering. Total roll. Oh, either way, Vanish, he was. So for some reason, the cook was trying to catch up. Cook was trying to catch up to the merchant. And because maybe the cook changed his mind, he's like, okay, I'll buy this. So the the merchant sees the cook and his reaction is angry. He's like, oh, not you again. And the is how does the cook respond to that? So let's I'll keep this one aside. Merchant sighs while coughing out, sighs at the sight of the cook. How does the cook react? Miserable. Blech. Oh gosh, he's like, that's not I think the cook is just overacting. Like he's just a very flamboyant character at this point. Um, he's just like the mood swings. He's just basically he's reacting. Well, I never like he's just really upset about it. And so the cook, let's say overacting. I'll put that in parentheses here. Overacting, or not parentheses, just a little highlight. Let's move that camera down. There we go. Overacting. X all defensive now. And Bregler is just he's gonna try to intervene. Look, however you guys know each other, I don't care. Can you please take him back to town? And so Bregler interjects or intervenes. I either way intervenes, interjects. I don't care. Asking the the cook to take the merchant back to town to see a doctor. Now, while we say that, I believe, no, okay, we said that. And now I'm going to, we basically put our hands in our sides here, or we're going to grab the merchant, help him stand up. Does the merchant, we'll roll for total. Does the merchant help us? I'm pretty sure he will. Okay, let me re-roll for that because it fell off. He does. Okay, the cook, I'm sorry, the cook will help us. Cook says, so the cook will agrees, says, okay, I can do that. The cook will say it like this. He'll say, all right, this is something I can quite positively do. So Cook agrees. We don't need to roll for this. Helps lift, or I should say, stand the merchant up. All right, next page. All right. Now, when we stand up the merchant, Bregler will say something under his breath, not really totally offensive, just be like, wow, quite the day. I've been finding a lot of you guys dismembered or dead. So he says that really bluntly. And how does the merchant react to that? I don't think he's pleasant renewal for that. Busy. He's okay. So the merchant's like just kind of ignores it, which I'm surprised he. I was kind of hoping he wouldn't, but Bregler says Bregler mumbles, reflecting on the past encounters of the other two merchants and what happens basically, and kind of briefly, just basically. So does that catch the interest? I'd say he is busy. The merchant is in a lot of pain. But does the cook catch us saying that? Oh my gosh. Sorry, my dice always fall off. Yeah. I gotta get a better way to roll these things. I know there's cups that they probably can find in the local tabletop store. Oh, the merchant, or sorry, the cook definitely ears perk up. So in response to that, he is very interested. Interesting. That roll was perfect. The cook, while helping, like put the merchant on the horse, like a like a tied up what do you call that? Damsel in distress to kind of like just help put the merchant onto the horse, helping the merchant up. We can't forget about his belongings. The cook takes interest in that. So the cook asks us to further explain. So while the merchant or while uh, the cook is helping kind of lift or put the merchant on the horse in the back, and then the cook kind of gets on top of the horse and gets on top of the horse to go back to town. Breglor is going to tell tell him. Well, first let me get his stuff. So I'm going to pick up everything that the bandits were mugging him with while doing this. So Breglor is gathering the merchant's belongings while uh, detailing the past merchants he found, especially the one dead, especially the one in the cave incident. So the cave, I'll underline that. So while saying that, does the merchant we just helped up take notice of that? He does. That's a solid yes, even without the whether it's advantage or total roll. The merchant opens his eyes and looks to us while he's like he's just kind of slouched over the horse and he looks up and he says, "Did you say cave?" So let's roll for this. Here, let's roll for the D100. Let's get some context in here. 58. So we have initiate. This definitely this triggers something within the merchant. He he hears the word cave and I'm going to say that merchant looks up. And what's his expression right now? Sorry, I gotta roll it. We'll ignore that. Let's say merchant looks up to us, looks up to Breglor, and repeats. He inquires about the dead merchant. asks us about dead merchants. While doing that, uh, the cook is about to, or we're about to finish packing up the goods, the merchant bag. Reglor is nearly done. Is nearly done picking up the merchant's goods. I'm surprised the merchant didn't have like a wagon with him, like a horse in a wagon. That leads me to believe that perhaps this is not the first time he got mugged. So Reglor is talking while doing this. He says, "Well, we saw a dead merchant at a cave where two griffins possibly came from, resided in." And so while saying that, let's roll. While we basically reveal that detail, the merchant's reaction to this revelation is one, abnormal. He starts to tear up. I wouldn't say he starts to tear up. He just says he's well, a fellow merchant of his. So the merchant asks Bereglor what the dead merchant was wearing, like what he looked like, his looks, his appearance. And of course, I can't spell appearance. His appearance. And so Reglar starts to detail like what he looked like, what he was wearing. His body was kind of torn up, so it's hard to tell for some part. But he also mentions the key. Uh, so Reglar describes describes mentions the key. That's an important plot point. And then the key does does that catch the interest of does the merchant have knowledge of the key too? Because the last one did. So, well, the dead merchant had the key. The second merchant knew of the key. The third one has to know about the key too. So we really should find what this key's for. Um, so we'll do a full roll. He does know about the. He does indeed know about the key. And okay, merchant knows about the key too. So Bregor will pull out the key. Bregor will show him the key in his hand. It's still dull. There's some blood on it. Merchant will take it while he's trying to. He's trying to reach for it. And Merchant tries to reach for it. I don't recall if we tried to inquire about what this key's for. No, the last merchant was possessed by a skull demon. So um, Bregor is saying, "What is this key for? What is this key for? It's a mystery." The merchant, Bregor, asks, "What is this key for?" Now the cook is seeing that the merchant is bleeding out, or he's just heavily injured, needs to see a doctor. So the cook intervenes. He says, "Look, we can get these details later." Or he's like, "Look, fine, sir, we have to take this man back to the doctor. It is utmost importance." So, let's see, cook intervenes again, uh, rushing, or I should say, insisting they need to go back now. In the final moments, perhaps, does the merchant explain anything about the? Let's see what he reveals. Does he explain anything? We'll do a full roll for the story. He does, but not a lot. Perhaps he doesn't have complete knowledge of it. Let's roll a d100, see what he knows about the key. Let's do all right, this would probably be pretty revealing. So let's just roll a d100 and see what we get. 41. Okay, so 41 is he's going to expand on the topic and interesting growling. Oh, the key. Okay, but he doesn't know too much about it. That's the thing. We rolled questionable. So the merchant, while he's still heavily injured, he's not exactly the talkative type. The merchant just says all he knows is that it's a key to a cell, supposedly imprisoning some creature. So the key is to a cell of a mysterious creature. Now, Breglor is very insistent. The cook is really trying to get going. Breglor hands the bag while listening to the cook and asks, he asks the merchant, "How do you know of this?" Breglor asks merchant how he knows of this. How he knows of this. Is the merchant still willing to speak? Let's just roll for a full answer. Oh, yeah, he is. He's really stopped putting a lot of effort in. He reveals the following. He we asked him how he knows of this. 27. How does he know about this? Defensive. Interesting. So a lot of defensive, consultant, dispute, emotional. So there's some emotional attachment he has, some emotional connection he has to the key. Um, but he mentions this. Merchant mentions briefly that before he is he about to pass out? He is. He's about to pass out. Mentions they are the guardians of blank. He passes out right there. So passes out. Okay, so we have a new plot point here. Merchant's just about to mention they are not they. Just say we are the guardians of. And he collapses. So merchant collapses. Now the cook sees this and checks the cook. Does the cook check his pulse? Like, does he know how? He checks his pulse. He does. He tries to, like he's trying to figure out like how to do it. Um, Now in checking his pulse, checks the merchant's pulse. Let's write that down before I forget. Cook checks merchant's pulse. And let's roll D100. 20. Defeated. So the merchant believes that or not, I'm sorry, the cook checks his pulse and believes the merchant is dead. Now, no pulse apparently, in parentheses, no pulse. And the cook is like, oh my, I believe he is dead. If we weren't speaking so often, we would have been to the doctors by now. And we are going to check his pulse too. Now, I think that's more of like a mind mental practice. So let's do a mind roll. Just 2d6. Difficulty, I say pretty easy. I'd say we have more better experience than the cook does. So let's roll to 5. Nice. So even without a modifier, we were good to go. So 8. We we check his pulse. So Breglor is like, wait, let me see this. Breglor. And the cook is about to it starts moving with the horse, like back to town. Uh checks uh the merchant's pulse. Okay. And does he have a pulse? Let's do a full roll. He does have a pulse. We yeah, he does. Breglor. Okay. Merchant's alive. Let's just write that down. Merchant's alive. And he's like, he's fine, you idiot. Just take him back to town. Just get him to a doctor quick. And the cook is like, okay, my way. And then he goes the rings and he does this with the horse, whatever that thing is called, and the horse takes off. They run back to town. Tells the cook, and the cook with the horse rush back to town. Now, did the merchant leave? Did we forget the? Did we? I'm assuming we forgot. We didn't give the merchant bag his bag with everything in it. Did we forget? Did we miss a few things? We did. Yep, we missed a couple things actually. Bregler notices something on the ground that must have fallen out of the merchant while he was leaning, when he slopped over. So an item fell out of the merchant's pocket. Even though we are, let's see, overall decent characters, a person, let's figure out what this item is. Okay, so let's see what kind of item this is. 19. Communication. So it's a note. Interesting. Okay. Redlore finds a small parchment. Is it sealed with like a stamp? Is it sealed? It is sealed. Yes, it is sealed. Do you think we should open this note? Hmm. Well, first I want to loot the bandits. That's what I want to do. So, Breglor is gonna pocket this item. So Breglor will keep the note for now because we're heading back to the town anyways. We can just give it back to the well. That's if we choose to give it back. Keep the note. So let's add that to our inventory. Let's see. We have quite a bit. We have to drop something. Let's drop the. Let's drop the shoot fishing rod. I don't think we have a torch anymore. I'm gonna take that out. We'll toss the torch out, and we'll do the note merchant. We're definitely collecting things from merchants. We have a key. We have a note now. Okay. All right. So now, what's an hour? We're gonna loot the two bandits. Can't forget that. Classic Skyrim, right? Loot the bandits. What do we find? Let's see. Let's roll for some items here. 6. Um, 8. Ooh, 8. We find potion. We found a potion. Or we found a potion. Interesting. Is it going to be a, let's see, it's a D4. Okay, and then do we find anything else on the first bandit? Let's just do 50-50 on this one. We found let's do one more. We don't find anything. All right, we're gonna check the next bandit. Did we find anything? I'm gonna give a little positive on this one. We do. Okay. What is that item we find? 83. A secret. Ooh, interesting. We find a secret. Something the bandit did not want us to see. And what is this secret item? 64. A magnifying glass. Interesting. It says magnify. Hmm. I'm gonna say it's a piece of glass. Well, let's figure this out. Magnify. It's an object. We know that. But what does it do? 77. Magnify. Oh, okay. It's a magnifying glass. Okay. Here. But do we keep it? Magnify. If those were available back then. Magnifying glass. But is it magically bestowed, imbued? Does it have magic properties to it? It does. Oh no, 3 to 3. One more. It doesn't want. It doesn't want us. We can't tell. Basically, we can't really tell if it has magic or not. It's a really strange magnifying glass. Okay. The problem is we don't have much inventory room to pocket these items. The potion we are definitely keeping. Perhaps the magnifying glass is to like see magic when you look through it, like see certain types of magic, which could be useful. But we have to get rid of something. We have a shield. Armor is not really too effective in this story, so I'm gonna take that out. Let's get rid of we dropped the chainmail, as silly as it sounds. I really want to keep that potion. Again, I'm debating between the defense and if it's gonna be product, if it's gonna be item linked, or just based on a trait. Potion D4. Do this. D4. Okay. And the magnifying glass. Well, let's roll for the Oracle. Does Bregler keep it? We haven't done this in a while. He does not keep it. He's going to just toss it aside. He doesn't see the magic in it, perhaps, and just tosses it. Just a magnifying glass to him. So he doesn't keep the magnifying glass. Keeps the potion. Okay, so that's it. We already we're done looting the bandits, and now Breglor is going to go back to town. So while he makes his way to town, does anything happen? Something does happen, though it's not too much. So what happens here? Let's roll the 100. We'll never get there, will we? 60, 95. Looks like something happens. Action. Swear, let's see. Tunneling. Tunneling. And we swear. Oh, the ground. Interesting, interesting. Soft, though. 17. Construct. I'm rolling probably a few things in mind here. So the ground could shake again. Does the ground shake? That's what I'm thinking here. Let's do a story roll. The ground shakes this time, and it's far more severe. The ground shakes once more, shakes again, and after the ground shakes, how bad is the shake? 77. Let's see. It's very odd. Okay, interesting. The shake is inconsistent. Shakes again, but more of an aftershock. So, but similar to an aftershock. So on and off again. Shakes. So it's very inconsistent. It's not as like terrible as the last one. Do we fall over or do we trip over? Let's see. We don't. Okay, we don't fall over. We hold our balance, so Breglor doesn't fall over this time. Holds his balance. Was this shake related to the past too? I'm gonna say a full roll. It okay, it is. So 5 to 3. It is related to the last two, though not for some reason it is very inconsistent. So this quake was related to the last two, to the last one. Several, I should say, at this point. Now we gotta check on the bird. Is the bird? Oh yeah, that's right, the bird. Tracer. Has Tracer found us? Where is Tracer currently? Let's figure that out. Location. This might be a little too much, but there's a bunch of possibilities here. So, 46 location. A monument. Interesting. Okay, he's on a monument. So the bird, the tracer, is perched on is camping on a monument. Tracer. I think that was a bird's name, right? Let me check. There's our characters. Yeah, Tracer, magically bestowed bird. It's okay. So regular is on is perched on a monument. Now the monument, is it like a gravestone or something? I think is it a gravestone? Sorry, let me re-roll that. It is a gravestone. All right, so it's just more specific. It's a gravestone. So while okay, so regular continues on to town, maybe half a mile away. We can still see the horse running in the distance. Perhaps they didn't stop or feel the shake that much. But while we're walking by, do we walk by a graveyard? Let's say full roll. We do indeed walk by a graveyard. So walks by a graveyard, and guess who's there? Tracer is there. Now, does Tracer see us? I'm pretty confident that Tracer does. So this will be a full roll. Oh, yeah, Tracer finally finds it. Tracer just sees us. Tracer has found us just like literally just moments away earlier, just found us, and is perched looking like a crow on top of a gravestone near a monument on a monument, looking right at us. Now, do we notice the bird? Do we notice Tracer? Let's do 50-50 on this one. We do not notice Tracer at all. We are completely oblivious to this magically bestowed bird, who perhaps just looks like a bird, found us. Breglor is unaware. And that's where we're going to close this episode out. That is great. Love the ending. Tracer's back again, but actually found us. So, oh, the weather. That's right. What's the weather like? Okay, so same fair conditions. That makes sense. Weather's fair. Fair. Partly cloudy. Okay, good, good, good. So, with that closing out the episode, um, we'll try to do this now for each episode. We had our first encounter. So this will be episode 12. Next. We had our first encounter. So here's some questions we can ask. Let's see. Uh, does Tracer How does Tracer update our Reglar's position to back to the magician? So does, or I should say, how we can build on that in the next episode. How does or how Tracer updates magician Gruith on positions? That's a big question. And okay, then the merchant. If we're gonna visit the merchant here, merchant, cook, uh, let's see, doctor visits. Maybe we can check on them perhaps. We might get an award for helping. We'll see about that. Merchant might give us some gold because we didn't really pick up any gold from that little. Oh, I never transferred my currency over, did I? That's why I kept this. So I have 5 gold. I just realized I didn't add that to my currency. I don't have a spot for currency on my character sheet actually. I gotta put a spot in there. So I'll just put 5 gold pieces. That's a small amount. We need to make that bigger. So okay, doctor visits. Is he okay? Reward, perhaps. We gotta be a little greedy. Reward. I'm not happy with that. Reward. Okay. Anything else? The shaking ground. So the quake origin. Okay. Now let's update our. I think our scenes. We actually do have to update one. Fisherman is for now is closed. The quake. Felt another though. Uh, it wasn't so it wasn't so consistent. It was odd. That's all we know about the quake. Felt another. Debt to pay. Scene 3. Tracer found us near graveyard. Okay, so that's that. And then, oh yeah, that's right. We need to, before I close the episode off, I'm guessing that Doggo was just kind of tagging along everything. So yeah, interesting. Okay, so Doggo's still with us. Sparky, Sparky's just kind of walking around, sniffing the dead bandits. Still around. Maybe okay. I know where we can start. So for next episode, Reglor is walking to Bellhop. Sparky. Also, we have a pet too. I should probably note that in my character sheet. We have a pet companion, Sparky. Yeah. So Sparky is walking with us. With us. All right, that's it. I'm going to leave it there. This episode was not too bad. I had a few hiccups here and there, a few little screw ups. Although, like I say, I've noticed that every other episode is typically uh, very, at least very enjoyable for me. This one was decent. Had some filler. We learned about the key a very little bit. Well, we learned something about the key. We had another quake. We had our first and real full encounter with my system. We had a few checks, some booster checks, and we met another character. So the cook character. We're still no name for either or. But I think that's it for now. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time on 830 RPG.